Do you think you know everything about the JonBenet RAMsey case? Think again, because today, we are diving into shocking new revelations that completely change the way the world has understood this decades-old mystery. From the night of December 25, 1996, the tragic death of 6-year-old JonBenet in her own home in Boulder, Colorado, has puzzled investigators, journalists, and amateur sleuths alike. The case has been shrouded in secrecy, controversy, and conspiracy theories that range from family involvement to mysterious intruders. Over the years, countless books, documentaries, and media reports have tried to piece together the puzzle. Yet the truth has remained elusive, hidden behind layers of conflicting evidence, unexplained events, and unanswered questions. Today, we are not just repeating old theories. We are unveiling the most shocking new developments that no one expected. Imagine being in the house that fateful night, a family celebrating the holidays, only to have their lives turned upside down by an unthinkable tragedy. Every detail, every timeline, and every statement made by witnesses and investigators has been scrutinized for decades. Yet, despite the extensive public record, the mystery deepens with every new clue that surfaces. New forensic techniques, previously ignored evidence, and newly released testimonies are creating a narrative that could finally bring us closer to understanding what really happened to JonBenet RAMsey. This is not just another retelling of the events. This is a revelation that could shift perspectives, challenge long-held beliefs, and leave viewers questioning everything they thought they knew about the case. Before we dive even deeper, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Your support tells YouTube to share this exclusive content with more fans who are as obsessed with uncovering the truth as you are. And if you want to support even further, use the super thanks to help us continue producing high-quality investigative content. For those who can't, simply comment below. Which part of this mystery shocked you the most, or which clue do you think finally reveals the truth? Trust me, you don't want to skip this video, because the revelations coming up will leave you stunned. Now, let's set the stage. JonBenet RAMsey was a bright, energetic, and talented child whose life was tragically cut short. The night of her death, she was found in the basement of her family's home under circumstances that were, and still are, eerily puzzling. Forensic evidence at the scene, from handwriting analysis to DNA samples, has been studied and restudied countless times, yet inconsistencies persist. Investigators initially focused on the family, particularly her parents, John and Patsy RAMsey, due to the mysterious ransom note and unusual circumstances surrounding the case. But alternative theories, including the possibility of an unknown intruder, continued to emerge as the public demanded answers. Over the years, public fascination has only grown, fueled by the combination of unsolved mystery, media coverage, and the heartbreaking innocence of JonBenet herself. But here's what makes these new revelations so astonishing. Experts who re-examined the crime scene with modern forensic technology found anomalies that were previously overlooked. Some evidence suggests patterns that contradict initial assumptions, while newly disclosed witness statements hint at angles that could have been missed by the original investigation. The combination of science, new testimonies, and investigative persistence is creating a wave of fresh insights. And yet, despite these revelations, the media has been hesitant to fully explore them, a silence that makes the unfolding story even more compelling. In the next segment of this video, we will dive into the most shocking clues, examine new forensic findings, and explore the testimonies that could finally bring clarity to the JonBenet RAMsey mystery. But before that, remember, subscribing and liking this video ensures you don't miss a single shocking update, and leaving a super thanks helps us produce more content that uncovers the secrets Hollywood, the media, and even law enforcement often keep from the public. Stay with us, because the story that follows isn't just a recap. It's a deep, unfiltered exploration of the evidence, the theories, and the shocking new turn that could finally rewrite history. Every twist, every revelation, and every unexplained moment matters. And by the end of this video, you'll see the JonBenet RAMsey case in a completely new light. Prepare yourself for a journey that is as haunting as it is eye-opening, because what you're about to learn will challenge everything you thought you knew about this infamous tragedy. As we continue unraveling the JonBenet RAMsey case, the focus shifts to the forensic evidence that has baffled investigators for decades. The original investigation was hindered by contamination, conflicting reports, and procedural mistakes, leaving key pieces of the puzzle either misinterpreted or overlooked entirely. One of the most crucial aspects that experts now highlight is the DNA evidence collected from JonBenet's clothing and the crime scene. Previously, these samples were inconclusive due to the limitations of 1990s forensic technology. Today, however, advanced DNA analysis has revealed previously undetectable profiles, suggesting that an unknown individual may have been present in the house that night. This discovery has reignited debate over the intruder theory, a theory often dismissed in early investigations. According to experts, the patterns in the DNA do not match any known family members or household staff, leaving an unsettling possibility: the presence of a person whose identity remains entirely unknown. While law enforcement continues to treat the family with suspicion due to the ransom note and unusual behavior surrounding the investigation, the evidence increasingly points to external involvement. This shift challenges a narrative that dominated headlines for decades and calls into question long-held assumptions about who is responsible for JonBenet's death. Moreover, re-examination of the crime scene photographs and notes has revealed inconsistencies that were never fully explained. Investigators noted that certain areas of the Ramsey home showed signs of being disturbed, while others seemed meticulously staged. Analysts point to these irregularities as potential indicators that the crime was not spontaneous, but rather the result of careful planning. Combined with the new DNA findings, this paints a picture of a case far more complex than initially reported. Witness statements, once considered minor or irrelevant, are now being revisited with fresh eyes, offering further context to the chaotic events of December 25, 1996. In addition to forensic discoveries, psychological profiling has also taken a prominent role in understanding the case. Experts in criminal behavior have revisited the profiles of potential suspects, weighing personality traits, opportunity, and behavioral patterns against the known evidence. Some of these profiles now suggest characteristics of a perpetrator who may have had access to the house, either through prior knowledge or circumstantial opportunity. The combination of behavioral science, modern DNA testing, and renewed scrutiny of the original investigation opens up new avenues for understanding the crime. The ramifications of these findings are profound. Families who once assumed that the case was solved or hopelessly mired in mystery are now presented with the possibility that the truth is closer than ever. While speculation remains high, and the media continues to cover old theories alongside emerging evidence, the direction of the investigation may finally pivot. Legal experts and cold case specialists argue that these revelations could justify reopening certain aspects of the case, allowing authorities to pursue leads that were previously disregarded. Even more shocking are the implications of new interviews conducted with individuals close to the Ramsey family at the time of JonBenet's death. Some previously unreported statements describe unusual activity, unfamiliar visitors, or strange occurrences in the household prior to the tragedy. These testimonies, though seemingly minor, align with the latest forensic findings, adding another layer of credibility to the intruder theory. Combined with advances in investigative technology and renewed public interest, the case is evolving in ways that could potentially alter historical perceptions. It's also important to address how media coverage shaped public perception for decades. Early reporting sensationalized aspect of the case, focusing heavily on family speculation, while neglecting potentially critical evidence. Today, investigative journalists and independent researchers are bridging these gaps, bringing previously suppressed or overlooked information to light. Their work emphasizes a crucial point. The narrative that dominated headlines in the late 1990s may have been incomplete or even misleading. By this stage, viewers must understand that the JonBenet RAMsey case is not merely a story frozen in time. It is an ongoing investigation, influenced by evolving technology, fresh testimonies, and persistent public interest. Every detail, from forensic anomalies to eyewitness statements, contributes to a complex web of intrigue and uncertainty. And as we continue, the next segment will introduce revelations so shocking they could rewrite what we know about JonBenet's final hours, the people surrounding her, and the unanswered questions that have haunted the public for nearly 3 decades. In the upcoming segment, we'll explore the most compelling new evidence, including details never before disclosed to the public, possible motives that have been overlooked, and a potential breakthrough that experts now believe could finally solve this enduring mystery. Stay with us, because what comes next is not speculation. It's an in-depth examination of the facts, guided by the latest scientific and investigative techniques. This is where history meets modern revelation, and the JonBenet RAMsey case takes a shocking new turn. As the investigation into JonBenet RAMsey's death continues to evolve, a new series of revelations has surfaced, challenging long-held assumptions and introducing previously unknown evidence that could finally illuminate what really happened on that tragic night. Modern forensic techniques, combined with decades of accumulated research and cold case reviews, have allowed investigators to uncover details that were invisible in the 1990s, painting a far more intricate picture of the events leading up to JonBenet's death. One of the most striking developments is the application of advanced DNA testing on items from the RAMsey household that were previously thought to be inconclusive. These analyses have detected genetic material that does not match any known family member or staff. While contamination and degradation remain potential concerns, the patterns observed strongly suggest the presence of an unknown individual. Experts argue that this discovery lends significant credibility to the intruder theory, a concept that was often dismissed in early investigations due to the dominance of narratives focusing on family involvement. The implications of these findings are enormous. For years, media coverage and public reception painted a picture centered largely around the RAMsey family's behavior, internal conflicts, and eccentricities. Yet, this new evidence forces a reevaluation, shifting attention to the possibility that someone outside the household may have had both the opportunity and motive to commit this horrific act. Investigators are now considering a range of suspects who were previously overlooked, including individuals with indirect connections to the family, or those who had knowledge of the property's layout. This broader perspective changes the entire investigative landscape, opening doors to leads that were once considered dead ends. In addition to forensic breakthroughs, careful reanalysis of crime scene documentation has revealed anomalies that had previously gone unnoticed. Certain items in the house, once assumed to be displaced during routine activity, may have been deliberately moved or staged. These subtle irregularities suggest the crime may have been meticulously planned rather than spontaneous, challenging prior assumptions that it was an impulsive act. Experts emphasize that such staging is a hallmark of premeditated criminal behavior, further supporting the hypothesis that an intruder may have had calculated intentions, with a level of awareness and knowledge far beyond that of a casual visitor. Behavioral profiling has also provided new insights. Specialists in criminal psychology have re-examined the case, taking into account the latest forensic evidence, interviews, and timelines. Their analysis highlights patterns consistent with someone who may have had prior experience or preparation. Traits such as meticulous planning, ability to navigate the household without detection, and understanding of potential forensic countermeasures point to a level of sophistication that contradicts earlier assumptions about random criminal activity. This renewed focus on behavioral evidence is providing investigators with more nuanced understanding of potential suspects. Moreover, interviews conducted with neighbors and individuals connected to the RAMsey family have shed light on previously unnoticed details. Some reported strange visitors, unusual activity, or unexplained sounds around the property in the days leading up to the tragedy. Others recalled subtle interactions that, at the time, seemed innocuous but now, in the context of new forensic findings, take on a new significance. These recollections, when cross-referenced with digital records, phone logs, and other circumstantial evidence, suggest that the sequence of events may have involved more than one person or an external observer whose presence went undetected. Financial and digital records have also come under renewed scrutiny. Forensic accountants and digital analysts have examined the family's records, emails, and communications for anomalies that might suggest hidden interactions, external threats, or unexplained patterns. While some early reports dismissed certain inconsistencies as mundane, experts now believe that these minor irregularities may, in fact, provide critical context. For example, unusual movements in the family schedule, unexplained visits, or discrepancies in logs could correlate with the timeline of JonBenet's disappearance, offering potential clues that were previously disregarded. Adding to complexity, legal experts argue that the handling of the original investigation had profound consequences for evidence preservation. Missteps in collecting, storing, and analyzing materials created challenges for later reviews, but the advent of new technology has allowed investigators to overcome some of these obstacles. DNA amplification, digital mapping, and crime scene reconstruction tools are enabling authorities to extract actionable information from materials that were once considered unusable. These techniques have breathed new life into a case that many had assumed will remain forever unresolved. One of the most controversial aspects of the case has always been the ransom note. For decades, debates have raged over its authenticity, the handwriting, the linguistic patterns, and the demands it made. Recent analyses, incorporating forensic linguistics and pattern recognition software, suggest that the note may have been deliberately crafted to mislead investigators. Subtle inconsistencies in phrasing, grammar, and syntax hint at an individual attempting to imitate or manipulate expectations, rather than a genuine family author message. If these findings are correct, they radically shift the investigative focus, adding weight to the theory of an external perpetrator orchestrating both the crime and the narrative surrounding it. At the same time, researchers are examining psychological and behavioral consequences on the family, who have endured intense public scrutiny for decades. Media speculation, intrusive interviews, and sensationalized reporting contributed to a climate of suspicion, making it difficult for investigators to separate fact from fiction. By carefully analyzing statements, timing, and context, modern investigators are beginning to distinguish genuine leads from misinterpretations, allowing a clearer reconstruction of events. This distinction is crucial for understanding the true sequence of actions leading to JonBenet's death. It is important to note that despite the decades-long public focus on the Ramseys, the new evidence does not categorically exonerate or implicate any individual. Rather, it broadens the scope, highlighting avenues previously ignored and emphasizing the need for careful, unbiased evaluation. Investigators now operate under a more methodical framework, where forensic science, behavioral profiling, and historical context converge to create a comprehensive understanding. This multifaceted approach is a significant departure from earlier methodologies, which often relied heavily on speculation and incomplete analysis. The cumulative effect of these discoveries is profound. Every new piece of evidence, every re-examined testimony, and every advanced forensic test contributes to an evolving narrative. The JonBenet RAMsey case, long considered unsolvable by the general public, is now entering a phase where tangible leads could emerge. The convergence of modern science, meticulous research, and renewed attention may finally allow the investigation to answer questions that have haunted the world for nearly 3 decades. As we move toward the final block, viewers should prepare for revelations that are even more shocking, including potential new suspects, undisclosed evidence, and breakthroughs that may redefine what we know about JonBenet RAMsey's last hours. The story is far from over, and staying engaged with the unfolding investigation offers a rare glimpse into how modern techniques can breathe new life into one of history's most infamous unsolved cases. As the investigation into JonBenet RAMsey's mysterious death moves forward, the cumulative findings from forensic science, witness testimonies, behavioral analysis, and re-examined evidence are beginning to create a clearer, though still complex, picture of the events surrounding that tragic night. Decades of speculation, sensationalized media reports, and public theories have often overshadowed the painstaking work of modern investigators. Yet, thanks to technological advancements and interdisciplinary collaboration, key details are emerging that may finally illuminate long-standing questions. These discoveries not only challenge previous assumptions, but also bring renewed hope to uncover the truth that has eluded investigators and the public for years. One critical focus remains the DNA evidence that has surfaced through advanced forensic techniques. Previously inconclusive samples have been reanalyzed, revealing genetic material from an unidentified individual. While the possibility of contamination exists, experts argue that the patterns are consistent with the presence of someone outside the household, a finding that could fundamentally shift the focus of the investigation from internal family dynamics to external parties with motive and opportunity. This DNA, when combined with physical evidence and scene analysis, creates multiple avenues for law enforcement to explore, potentially leading to identification of previously overlooked suspects. The crime scene itself has been subjected to rigorous reevaluation. Items and objects once dismissed as irrelevant are now being scrutinized for subtle signs of manipulation, movement, or staging. Forensic specialists suggest that these deliberate arrangements indicate premeditation, implying that the perpetrator carefully orchestrated the scene to mislead investigators or conceal their identity. Such conclusions challenge prior assumptions that the crime was impulsive or opportunistic, instead painting a portrait of a calculated and strategic offender capable of meticulous planning. Witness testimonies, both old and newly surfaced, are being carefully reintegrated into the investigation. Reports of unusual activity, sightings of unknown individuals near the Ramsey home, and anecdotal accounts that were once disregarded as coincidental are now being cross-referenced with physical evidence, travel records, and communication logs. The goal is to reconstruct a precise timeline and identify potential points of access, opportunity, or interference. This approach allows investigators to create a more comprehensive narrative that accounts for the presence of unknown actors and highlights inconsistencies or overlooked details from previous inquiries. In addition to forensic and testimonial analysis, modern behavioral profiling has provided fresh insights into the case. Experts are examining the psychological traits and possible motivations of individuals who may have been capable of committing such a crime. The patterns observed at the crime scene, combined with witness accounts and forensic data, suggest a level of sophistication and intent that aligns with a methodical and deliberate offender. These insights are guiding law enforcement in narrowing down potential suspects, refining investigative priorities, and reassessing prior leads that may have been prematurely dismissed. The ransom note remains a pivotal component of the investigation. Linguistic and forensic analysis, using contemporary methodologies, has highlighted inconsistencies and patterns that suggest intentional deception. Experts posit that the note may have been composed to misdirect investigators or manipulate assumptions about the identity of the perpetrator. If this hypothesis is accurate, it underscores the likelihood that the crime was committed by someone with knowledge of investigative practices and an intent to control the narrative from the outset. This revelation challenges decades of assumptions and emphasizes the importance of re-examining all elements of the case with an open, evidence-driven mindset. Digital records, including emails, phone logs, and other communications, have also provided critical insights. Analysts have identified anomalies in correspondence, unexpected visits, and unexplained interactions that correlate with timelines of interest. These digital breadcrumbs, when analyzed alongside physical and testimonial evidence, provide investigators with a multi-layer perspective that was previously unavailable. The integration of technology in the investigative process represents a paradigm shift, enabling more accurate reconstructions of events and the identification of individuals who may have been involved or present at key moments. Media narratives and public perception have historically shaped the discourse around JonBenet's death. For years, sensationalism and speculation overshadowed evidence, creating myths and biases that complicated the search for truth. By focusing on factual, evidence-based analysis, investigators hope to separate conjecture from reality. This approach not only advances the investigation, but also educates the public on the importance of critical evaluation and cautious interpretation of information. By challenging entrenched narratives, authorities aim to redirect attention to tangible, verifiable details rather than sensationalized speculation. Family dynamics, once the centerpiece of public scrutiny, are now being contextualized with nuance. While early media coverage painted the Ramseys as primary suspects, modern investigations are reassessing behavior, statements, and timelines with objectivity. Contextual analysis suggests that many actions previously interpreted as suspicious could be consistent with grief, trauma, and the pressures of public scrutiny. This balanced approach allows investigators to maintain focus on credible evidence and potential external actors, while minimizing the influence of sensationalist narratives. As the investigation advances, the cumulative evidence, DNA analysis, scene reevaluation, witness accounts, behavioral profiling, and digital forensics creates a framework that may finally lead to resolution. The case, once thought to be unsolvable, now benefits from methodologies, technology, and analytical rigor unavailable in the 1990s. Each layer of analysis strengthens the understanding of potential suspects, timelines, and sequences of events, bringing investigators closer to identifying the person or persons responsible for JonBenet's death. For viewers, understanding the significance of these discoveries provides both insight and context for the ongoing complexity of the case. It underscores the importance of patience, methodical investigation, and reliance on empirical evidence over assumptions or speculation. The lessons learned from JonBenet's case extend beyond the immediate tragedy, illustrating how advancements in forensic science and investigative methodology can transform even decades-old mysteries into solvable puzzles. And now, as we conclude this exploration, it's clear that the JonBenet RAMsey case continues to evolve. New evidence, technological breakthroughs, and persistent investigative efforts are redefining what we know, challenging long-held beliefs, and providing hope that the truth may finally emerge. This story is far from over, and each revelation adds to the collective understanding of a case that has captivated and confounded the world for decades. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss updates on the latest developments in true crime mysteries. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What revelation surprised you the most? Who do you think may finally hold the answers to this enduring enigma? And remember, if you want to support the channel further, consider leaving a super thanks. Your contribution allows us to produce more in-depth investigative content like this. Finally, make sure to click on our next video where we explore another shocking case that has remained unsolved for decades, revealing hidden details, untold evidence, and the secret authorities didn't want you to know. Stay with us, because the truth is always more shocking than fiction, and the pursuit of justice continues.